And thinking, dang, wish I could have won that cooler. You got a home here. Welcome to the Go Show, celebrating all things outdoors in this beautiful outdoor playground of a world that we live in. Thanks for streaming along on Facebook, YouTube, and the tweet machine, aka X, whatever we're going to call the thing from moving forward. I'm going to stick with Twitter because I'm old and I'm just going to stick with Twitter. Thanks for watching that video last night, and a big congratulations to the new owner of the Mule 30. That thing is cool. I'm telling you. Big thank you to Canyon Coolers again for helping us out and donating that so we could raffle that thing off. Almost said auction that off. Yeah. Wounds are still a little tender from the whole auction item thing. So raffles. So I wanted to chat with you about raffles today. I also want to talk to you about how long freezer meat is going to last. How long is your game meat going to last in the freezer? We're definitely going to chat about that because I got a freezer full and I participated in what was called an eat down. My girlfriend introduced me to that, an eat down. And I didn't know what an eat down was. Apparently, if you're clearing room in your freezer or fridge, you have an eat down. It's like a smack down, hoe down, but we're not smacking and there's no hose involved. So we're just going to, anyway, eat what's in the freezer. And how long does that last? So you go in there, you see some venison and you're thinking, who gave me venison? How did I get venison? How long has that been in here? How long does that last? What to do with it? We'll get to that as well. But here's the thing. One big part of our outdoor world and conservation banquets and events that you have, you see a lot of bucket raffles. And bucket raffles are a thing. And what reminded me of this was us donating that, raffling off that donated Canyon cooler yesterday. And it kind of got me thinking, you know what? I might do a little PSA on getting this right. Either you're an organization that wants to have a bucket raffle, have some sort of a raffle like that at an event or at a show like it was at the expo, or you're someone who likes to throw the tickets in. Let's have a chat. Okay. First of all, there are simple rules for having bucket raffles. And I'm not talking about gaming laws or anything. If you're an outdoor banquet and there are buckets there are rules. Here's the number one rule. And I'm going to say this on behalf of everyone who has to reach into those dang buckets, pull it out, and read a name. Who taught y'all how to write? Holy mackerel. I have to do this, and God forbid it's in front of an entire banquet of 1,000 people, and they're staring at me, and I'm like, let me kind of use my context clues on each letter, and I might piece something together. No, write it legibly, or if I'm the guy who's pulling it out of the hat or the bucket, next, write legibly, or just write your last name so you don't have to go through all of them. My name's Michael Russell. Putting that on a little tiny ticket, not that easy. I have seen, and this is fantastic too, I've seen people buy stamps. So they have stamps. So they literally they go to all these auctions. I'm sorry, they go to all these raffles. I can't say that word. It's the A word now. They go to these raffles and these bucket raffles, and they're just stamp. So their names are legible, and their phone number and email address all on their pop. I don't know how much that costs. I'm going to guess it's like $20-$30. Worth it if you go to a lot of these banquets and you're putting your name on all these things. Oh, heck yeah. That's and thank you, by the way, on behalf of everyone who's going to pull your name out of a bucket. Thank you for doing that. And it saves us a lot of time and hassle. It's a lot like reading a Dr. Seuss book to your kids. You remember those days where you're reading Dr. Seuss books? Because Dr. Seuss, some would say God love him. I say that author is responsible for more parents sounding to their children like they don't know how to read. You start getting into the Sam I Ams and the this and the that's and the tempo and the cadence of a Dr. Seuss book, you'll look like you can't read to your kids. You're stumbling, fumbling, bumbling all over the place. And it's the same if you're pulling out these bucket raffles at these banquets. You're pulling out a bucket raffle and you can't read a name. It says Bill Smith, but it looks like it says, I have no idea. I didn't think of anything funny to put on that one, but Bill Smith, and you can't read Bill Smith. And then some kid comes along inevitably and goes, that says Bill Smith. Okay, now I have to announce it. Bill Smith. I couldn't read Bill Smith. So just write your name properly. just write your name properly and make sure you have all your information on there. So depending on where you're at, right? So you need to bring a bit of strategy into these things because it makes it more fun. Now, when I say a bit of strategy, here's what I mean. Bending, people bend the tickets, go on these bucket raffles, they bend the ticket, bend the ticket, bend the ticket. Does that work? Don't know. Really, no one knows if it works or not because other people bendy as well. And then everything's bend, everything's the same. It kind of eliminates that. But does it work? Does it not? Who cares? If you think it works and it adds a little bit of a dopamine hit to you when you drop it in there, like, oh, I got it this time. You know what I mean? I bent it. Fine, cool. Make it more fun. Do it anyway. Some people are like, oh, you don't bend those. That's just a waste of time. And no, it isn't. I'm having fun. This is how I do it. This is how I'm entering the drawing. So you're gonna have to just deal with it. Who cares? It's you. It's your excitement. It's your fun. It's your money. It's your opportunity. Go for it. But if you're running a raffle, now this is what we've run into in the last couple of weeks, and we've been talking about this because even the R word, a raffle, is like, oh, we can't say that now. We can't say auction, can't say raffle, but what are we gonna call it? Can't say sweepstakes. I don't get it. But if you're going to have a bucket raffle item at one of your banquets or events that you're doing, there's probably a couple of cool ways or cool tips and tricks that you need to understand before going in. Okay. If it's not a banquet, okay, if it's basically let them know if it's not a banquet and you're raffling like we did the Canyon Cooler. And by the way, if you go to canyoncoolers.com and you use the code GOSHOW, 15% off, 15, boom, just like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll take care of the taxes. I got you. If you're doing that, let the people know, by the way, when they're filling it out that they're going to be contacted. They understand, it's assumed, but I think you will have more success if you say, yeah, just go ahead and write this down, fill out the ticket. There you go, and we'll reach out to you, tell you about our organization and the cool stuff that we got going on. That is going to help in the future for open rates, click rates, people lower the amount of people unsubscribing because they know now that if you want a shot at winning the thing, you can at least read an email from me saying that we do what we do here at this organization, right? So if it's not a bucket raffle for a specific item, and it's just you gaining some information, email addresses, stuff for your mailing list, let them know. I mean, I appreciate that. So if I fill out this ticket with my name and number on it and stuff like that, you guys are probably going to call me, aren't you? Okay, cool. Yeah. Give me a call. There's, I think, 5 or 6 numbers that ring through on my phone, and that's it. Other than that, I can check it later if I need to. So fine, go ahead, sign up. And are you kidding me? My Gmail account is just a spam. It's just constant. I think I delete 75 emails every other few days. Yeah, it's crazy. Now, know this: if you're going to run a bucket raffle for any item at your banquet or fundraiser, everyone is going to think it's rigged. Period. It's the nature of things. It's the world we live in right now, where we just assume that everything is rigged. And if that's something that they want and they don't win, or they see that, oh, God forbid, Mike's the one drawing, and I saw the person that won it, that person was a guest on a show once, has to be rigged. Nah. They will assume that, though. It's not rigged. I don't know. You put tickets in here. I reach in there and grab the dang thing, and there we go. That's the winner. I'm not a magician. I wasn't palming a ticket as I went down in there. And trust me, if I was rigging this stuff, it would be for my family, and I will have it at my house, especially that Candy Cooler, because I wanted it bad. So this is something that is just going to be assumed by everybody. It's our nature. We're to the point right now as a society that when we find out that things were rigged, or that somebody was a knucklehead, or somebody wasn't what we thought that person was going to be, we're like, I expected that. So when you're doing these types of things, know that everyone's going to think that's. I feel sorry for executives or high-level branch chiefs and directors at Game and Fish and the commissioners. I feel bad for them. Because constantly, even if you're running one of the critter groups, say you're Steve Clark at Arizona Elk Society, it's like, oh man, bet you got drawn for a tag. Bet you get a tag every year. Elk Society, huh? Yeah. No, not the case. Commissioners, directors, same things. They're the same thing. They're going to get that. Oh, yeah. Well, you work for the department. So obviously you were drawn. Because when they do get drawn, they're like, oh, yeah, of course. Of course you got drawn. You're a director. Yeah. Oh, you're a branch chief. Us common folks just don't get drawn. They don't, by the way. If you've missed any part of the show over the last 11 years, that was actually surprising to me. Because even 11 years ago, I was as much of a skeptic as I am today. I'm more of a skeptic, though, but I was a skeptic back then as well. So I assumed that if you're the director of Game and Fish, you got tags. If you were a high-level person, you just got tags. And as junky as that sounds, it doesn't matter because it's the assumption, but it's not. It's not the way it goes. Again, I was standing in between a commissioner and the director, the director of Arizona Game and Fish Department, both talking about how they didn't get drawn. So doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. Oh, but if he's a director, he can. Nope. I'm telling you, everything is on the up and up. Everything is above board. But the more people don't get drawn, and the longer they go without getting drawn, what happens? They start to get skeptical that something is happening. That something bad is happening. Yeah. Oh, Eddie, thanks for popping in there. We're doing this every day, Eddie. We're going every day at 11, straight up. Yeah, we did a few weeks of Saturday mornings, but now we're just doing this every day, Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock. Let's talk about the outdoors. Let's have some fun. So I appreciate you. Appreciate you asking the question. We'll probably start doing eventually a Saturday morning recap of what we had for the week, kind of a highlight, best of kind of thing, and keep it going. Yeah. So thanks for playing along, and always encourage you to comment as well. Now, going back to this, if you are going to be somebody that's going to do one of these bucket raffles at your event, be as transparent as possible. Just be as transparent as possible. Have somebody else grab it for you. Like grab a kid from the crowd. Just say, hey, listen, this is going to be my assistant. This is the person. The kid's not going to be shady. I mean, how skeptical do you have to be? You have to be a cynic above cynics. You have to be even more cynical than me to think that I trained a kid in the parking lot how to palm tickets and make sure that all my people win the bucket raffle. So, be as transparent as possible. If you're going to do it from the office like I did yesterday, make sure that that's posted online. Do a live stream if you'd like to do a live stream, so there's just no shadiness, no opportunity. People go, oh, of course Robert won it. Sorry, it's the name we grabbed, and you saw it right there on the video. There's no could be some tricky editing though. Yeah, see, I told you I'm a skeptic. I'm a cynic. I can figure out that there's something going on here. There is a magician that I follow, a card trick guy on Instagram, that he had he has a timer, a little stopwatch. And when he starts his videos, the timer is on screen the entire time. So that eliminates people saying, oh, you totally edited this out. You've edited. No, look, watch the clock. There it is right there. Yeah. Oh, and Eddie, had good 2-year run and getting drawn. I'm telling you, I went, I'm going to say 9 years without getting drawn. 9. And that's when I had this show too. So people, oh yeah, you got a tag. You've got an outdoor show. Not how it works again. I went a 9-year run dry, and 3 of the last 6 years got drawn. Like every year I get drawn. I have a 7 West tag this year. So excited about that. So you basically, this might be, I might just bite the bullet and reach out to a few of my outfitters and see if I can get taken care of, because this might be my last shot at a bull that I can actually move. Maybe I get 15 years. I got to wait again. This might be my last shot about putting a trophy up on the wall. So we'll see. And I guess that's a bad word too. There's a lot of bad words we can't say now. Can't say raffle. Can't say auction. Can't say trophy. It's getting exhausting. Yeah. They populations are nice. And then there's some people know my buddy Clayton. My buddy Clayton got drawn he went like on a 11-year drought, and they got drawn for, I forget, within 2 years, he had elk, deer, pronghorn, and sheep. Like, and that's when you think the fix is in. But I mean, when the points are what the points are, they are. So please do this, by the way. If you have any questions on how the Arizona draw is, I know we're talking about bucket raffles, but if you have any questions about how the Arizona State big game tag draw is conducted, go to our YouTube page and check it out. Scroll down a bit. I'll see if I can pop that up to the top. Maybe you can pin it. I don't know if you can do that at YouTube, but we'll give it a try. It'll answer some questions. It just shows you exactly how it's all done. It's all in the up and up. I'm telling you, It's all on the up and up. So post that video or do it live if you're going to do a raffle, and then let the winner know as soon as you can. Let the winner know as soon as you can, and then hopefully when you're letting that winner know, say, hey, listen, either Mike's going to drop it off or meet you up somewhere, and we're going to grab that. You're going to get that. He's probably going to do a video. He's going to take a picture, or if you're just going to come and grab it, pick it up. Maybe when you get it home, maybe you post, maybe you tag us. Okay. So set some ground rules, kind of a pay for play kind of thing. Like if you really want to, if you really want to get this wonderful prize, those are gonna have to do a little something, right? I would think that that's fair. I totally would. So this is the Go Show. Thanks for hanging out with us. In by the way, again, go to canyoncoolers.com. They got a lot of cool stuff. Their drinkware is so cool. They have a Flagstaff artist that does it for them. They're drinking like no stickers. You're not going to want to put stickers on this. Everybody put stickers on the drinkware. You're not going to want to do this because it's really, really cool stuff. They got some cool swag. How about this? Quite literally, the most comfortable shirts I own. Holy mackerel. I just ordered some more of them. They're that comfortable, amazing. Canyoncoolers.com. Use the code GOSHOW to get 15% off of your order. So check that out. So let's talk about this. I have a freezer that is full. I know I'm blessed. I know I am very lucky to have that. I have a full freezer. And to get to that, to make room, I had to do what was called an eat down. And this eat down is something that is actually fun because it saves you money. If you have a full freezer of game meat, there really is no reason for you to go to the store and get any kind of other animal protein. Eat what you got in there. And you are going to see your grocery bills drop. You are going to see your bank account increase, and you're going to be healthier. You just are. You're going to be eating better stuff. But Mike, what's the difference between an elk steak and a steak I get at the store? A lot. A lot is different. There's no water injection. There's no preservatives. There's no dyes to make it look a certain color. There's a lot of things that happen in store meat that's gross, and nothing happens in game meat that's gross because you know what? You're the one that took that out of there and put it in your freezer. I mean, you might go to like a processing facility, and the processor, that's the middleman. So that's it. You don't have shipping and all this stuff and refrigerated and frozen and thawed. Forget about it. That's why. So on this eat down to make room, maybe you got a tag, like I got a tag. So I'm expecting to have an elk in that freezer at the end of the year. So I want to make sure that that freezer is starting to deplete as we go along. So the big question is, how long does meat last in the freezer? How long can you have game meat stored? Is it a year? I think that's the go-to that I would say most people will tell you. And most people are wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. Most people are wrong in saying that a year, about a year, got about a year to be fine. That'd be fine. If the meat is frozen, here's what I'm going to tell you. Are you ready for this word? I'm going to use the I word. And if it is frozen, it is deep frozen. It has not been thawed. It's been in there the entire time and is not lost temp, is frozen indefinitely. Indefinitely. And you know where I got that from? The USDA. Okay. If meat is frozen, so if you take out a package of like a Johnsonville bratwurst or something like that you had in your freezer, and you're like, ooh, this thing expired like 4 months ago. Nope. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. And I know somebody's going to say, oh, you're going to get calls. You're going to get emails. No, I'm not. Because I'm right in saying this. And the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, actually agrees with me on this. I don't know about the FDA, but who trusts the FDA? Holy mackerel. This is good. Eddie, yeah, it's right. It just hit a year. It's fine. If you haven't taken it out, it's fine. Okay. And even if you've taken it out, I'm going to help you with that as well. That's right. This is going to be good information. So I want you to pay attention with me, and I will go to my notes. So when it comes to storing in a freezer, there are two options that are usually used in our outdoor world. The first is butcher paper, and the second is vacuum seal. So those two make quite a difference in one thing, and that's freezer burn. They don't make a difference in, is this going to be safe to eat or not? That's not what it makes a difference in. It makes a difference in freezer burn and how much meat you'll have to trim off or not trim off, whatever it is. It is the only difference. Now, I've seen Steve Ranella from Meat Eater, something I did not know before. He likes to take the saran wrap and he likes to wrap it first really tight, like get as much air out of there as he can, and then butcher paper. And that's a fantastic idea in a lot of ways, because if you're processing your own, that will not eliminate, that will decrease the possibility of freezer burn. The freezer burn, the ice crystals and all of that, that happens when meat has moisture leave and air introduced. So once during the freezing process. So if there's a hole in the butcher paper, it's not wound tight enough that lets oxygen in, moisture gets out, and that's where that comes from. And you probably see with a really loose vacuum seal. So it happens. That's what happens with that. So there's that, and then there's the vacuum seal. Vacuum seal for the win for me. I mean, I get my stuff from the processor in butcher paper, and it's fine. It works just great. But for the cuts, the prime cuts that I take from the field and bring home and don't send to the processor, like the tenderloins, back straps, the prime cuts that I want to hold on to, those are processed and vacuum sealed at the house, and those are good for good. They're good. They're fine. As a matter of fact, I had bison ribs the other day that were, I believe, over 2 years old. Delicious. Absolutely 100% delicious. Oh, and if you've been waiting for the answer on that, I did half of them on the Green Mountain Grill, and I did half of them in the crock pot. Both turned out fantastic. Both turned out so good that I just combined them, and it just made this nice little pot roasty kind of falling apart meat that you put in tacos. We made tacos, and then you put them on nachos. When we're done with this show, I'm actually, because I didn't have breakfast, I'm going to make a bison rib omelet. Yeah. But that's how long they were in there. They were in there a hot minute. So they were fine. They were good. So indefinitely is a word I'm going to stick with. I'm going to stick with indefinitely, because you can quite literally hang on to your meat in the freezer indefinitely. You just have to take care of it. Again, the USDA says it, and I'm going to read this. According to the USDA, it doesn't really matter how long you store game meat in the freezer. Did you hear that? Let me read it again, and let me put on the spectacles. All right. According to the USDA, it doesn't really matter how long you store game meat in the freezer for. Both raw and cooked game meat, including venison and game birds, can stay frozen, there's the I word, indefinitely, and still be safe for consumption. You heard it. Stop this noise. Understand, I get it. There are guidelines to how long you've had chicken sitting around in the fridge and how long you've had fish sitting around in the fridge. I get that there's a limit to that. But for the very most part, and this is my belief, the most part, if you see expiration dates on things that aren't super perishable, like lettuce and like bagged lettuce and fish and poultry, I think the whole expiration date's a bunch of hooey. I just think it's more of a guideline than it is you need to throw this out. So that might save you some money right there, because again, if frozen properly, the USDA says indefinitely. How about that? The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, they don't offer formal guidance on game meat, but they say that they recommend around a year time frame. But I don't trust I really don't trust the FDA or the Department of Health and Human Services. I just don't, again, because I've said this. Now, what it comes down to on how long you can serve your game meat, how long you keep your game meat in the freezer. When it comes to quality, that's where we can have the discussion. That's where things matter. Obviously, your 3-year venison steak in there is not going to be as good as it was when it was in there for 3 months, period. It's just not going to be as good. So if quality is an issue, then by all means, eat down as quickly as you can. Eat that stuff as fresh as you can, or prioritize some of the cuts. Like here, my loins, my straps, those are going to go first. Those are going to be cooked first because I want the freshness. Again, if it's in a freezer, it's not going to be, if it's stayed frozen the entire time, it's not going to be dangerous to consume. And according to the USDA, it's not going to be dangerous to consume. It's just not going to be of as high a quality. That makes perfect sense to me. So what do? You pull out that roast that has some brown spots, that has some, blood steak. It's got a little bit of freezer burn on it. I want you to treat that like your mom told you to treat cheese, how I taught my kids to treat cheese. This has mold on it. Cool, cut it off. It's fine. Just cut the mold off and eat the dang thing. We've been doing that for years. Same thing with your game meat. If you want to trim, you want it to look nice. You want it to look in red and, almost a purple. You want that meat to be fine. Cut the silver skin off, as we always do. Cut the silver skin off and cut those little pieces off. And by the way, silver skin, yes, ditch, or that goes to the dog. And by the way, please don't throw your scraps away when you're trimming your meat, even if it's the fresh stuff and you're getting the silver skin off that. My pal Julie down south, she is my dog breeder. She feeds her entire stock of dogs just raw chickens. Here you go. Those raw chickens. That's what they eat, and they're the healthiest, most awesome, happy dogs in the world. Dogs can eat raw meat. They should. Don't be afraid of this. Scraps go to the doggies. That's the doggy tax. Okay. But when you have actual meat that you're cutting away, like the what you see is maybe like a brownish part and kind of a freezer burnt part, you know what that's good for? Stews, crock pots, and well, if you're doing crock pot and stew in the crock pot, obviously. And just chopped up, maybe you mix it with some fat, make turn that into some burger that doesn't go into a patty because it's going to have trouble holding its form. Go and throw that in like a spaghetti or a lasagna. Telling you, it's you don't throw this stuff away just because it doesn't look super pretty coming out. It's not going to jack you up. It's not going to jack your stomach up. It's been frozen the entire time. It's been in a suspended state. It's not, there's nothing that could happen. Nothing can grow. It's good. So take it out, eat it. If some freezer burn got in there, and again, all freezer burn is when moisture escapes and air is introduced. So it dries it out a little bit. So that's where the stews come in and things like that, or a crock pot where a lot of moisture and seasoning can be reintroduced, and a lot of those fibers can be broken down. It's fantastic. You don't have to throw this out. It's still good. If you are like my buddy Slavo, Slavo's going to be on the show on Thursday with Princess Slavo, his daughter, who went on a hunt. So we'll recap that. And Slavo Salt, by the way, go to slavosalt.com and use the term Go Show. Keyword Go Show, keyword code, whatever it is, discount code, Go Show. Pop that in there, get 10% off your order, hands down. Again, I put it on everything. Literally put it on everything. There's nothing I don't put Slavo Salt on. I don't cook without Slavo Salt, period. But anyway, he went away to his family spot up north and had some stuff going on, some contractors coming into his house. Contractors cut the power and didn't turn it back on. Slavo lost a good amount of bison, elk, and hog in his freezer. Just gone, rotted, gone. Mm-hmm. So be careful of that. Generator is always a good thing. So which brings us back to how long game meat can last. That meat's gone, done, out. Don't even feed that to the dog. Bad. So here's the deal, though. When if maybe you had a power outage and the freezer was opened and some of the meat thawed, you better get after it fast. That's when you start your eat down because the clock's kind of ticking on that. So if it gets refrozen, it's not going to be a quality meat. You want it to stay frozen the entire time. If it starts to thaw, bad. By the way, if you have a power outage, especially here in Arizona, which power outages last maybe a couple hours max, maybe even overnight, whatever that is, don't open the freezer. The freezer just becomes a big canning cooler at that point. It's going to keep everything frozen. The temperature won't even drop very much if there's a power outage and you keep that door shut. Everything in there should stay just fine. Okay? So all things considered, you vacuum seal when you can, right? So vacuums, and that's generational. By the way, there's so many old guard right now rolling their eyes going, this young guy, I put this in butcher paper, and that's all I use. I even used butcher paper. I already used it, I tell you. Okay. Vacuum sealing is period the way to go. It just is. Some people, some purists will say I only vacuum seal fish. Fine, whatever. I vacuum seal every single thing I can. If you can, what kind of a fun pro tip? If you want to vacuum seal your burger, which that's one thing I don't vacuum seal, but if you do want to vacuum seal, go ahead and flatten that out as much as you can. Make it like a little sheet cake, and then go ahead and put that in there. It really it thaws like that, and it freezes like that. So you're not going to have any freezer burn. It's going to freeze super fast, and it's going to be super easy to thaw and get going. And another key for someone who likes to cook way too much and way too big. 1 pound packages max. 1 pound pack, half-pound packages if it's just you and your spouse, or you just usually cook for yourself. But 1 pound sections to go into the freezer bags is probably the best idea for you, because it's just, yeah, leftovers are just tough. They just, because I love to cook so much, I just keep stacking leftovers, and that ultimately leads to me throwing stuff away, and that's just not cool. So, recap: use the I word when asked. How long can game meat stay good in the freezer? Good, relative, because there's two different types of good. Good, it's not going to hurt you. Indefinitely. Good, it's going to taste like it did when you first put it in the freezer. Yeah, you got about 6 months to a year on that one. Anything over that, you're going to have a little bit of processing to do right when you get it out of the package. You're going to make sure, again, you're going to make sure to cut away those freezer burnt spots, and you're going to reintroduce those into like a stew or something like that. Not bad meat because it's freezer burnt. It is freezer burnt. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. It's not bad because it's freezer burnt. It's just lacking hydration. It had moisture pulled from it. It's still fine because it's in a suspended state in the freezer. It's not going to jack your stomach up. Go and throw that into a stew, or into if you burger it up or chop it up, throw it into a chili or a pasta sauce, something like that. Something that's heavy on seasoning, because it's just lost flavor. It isn't as, wow, that's some good venison right there. Wow, that's some really good elk. It lost a lot of that along the way. So again, that is my public service announcement of the day. If you see those best used by little things on your packages on your food, if it's been frozen, we're not playing that game. It's just, that game's not. It's just different. So take it out. Oh, thawing, by the way, I'm terrible at this. I really am, and the FDA and the USDA will agree with me on this one. I'm terrible about planning ahead for things like that and pulling meat out of the freezer to the point where I can put it in the refrigerator and let it thaw. Letting it thaw in the refrigerator is so much better than just leaving it sitting out, again, because you're introducing oxygen. You're introducing a drastically different temperature to the meat, and it changes it a little bit. So as best you can, plan ahead, and especially on those eat downs, plan ahead, and then you can get the meat into the where I don't know, pan, where are we cooking it? Put it in the fridge. I forgot what I was doing. That's good. that you just saw live right here on this stream. You just saw my brain glitch. Coffee fixes that each and every time. Okay, so here's the quick recap. Food can stay in a freezer indefinitely. It will just lose quality, but it's not going to make you just keep it frozen. How about that? Easy as that. That's the easy recap. All right. Tomorrow we're going to get back at it. Eddie, thanks for clarifying. Yes, not just doing this Saturday morning. We're doing this every single day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Go Show, 11 o'clock, wherever you are. So if it's Facebook, if it's YouTube, if it's X, whatever it is. And apparently X just is just doing well for us. So X, a lot of you are here on X. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're playing with the algorithm, bringing some good old outdoor fun to a platform that doesn't really know a lot about good outdoor fun. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. We'll see you here tomorrow at 11 right here on the Go Show. Have a great afternoon.